Welcome to Art Talk Music. My guest today is a special friend, Miss Jessi Lloyd. She's a marvelous hat maker, and she's doing a wonderful fundraiser at the end of this month, May 26th. Jessi is married to an old childhood friend of mine, Mr. Tristan Lloyd. And Tristan, about 5 years ago, was diagnosed with brain cancer and having a tumor in his brain. Jessi and him did quite a lot of research to really find the right surgeon and the right place to really help with this whole situation. This fundraiser is specifically going to be donating money to the research and the work of the doctor that worked on Tristan and helped him to remove the tumor of his brain and to now be happily living a beautiful life with his gorgeous family and working as a lawyer, practicing law within the state of New Mexico. So we talk a bit about how Jessi got into everything and really what made her jump to take on such a big project like a fundraiser, a silent auction, and an event celebrating and raising money for brain cancer awareness and research. So I'm very grateful to have had her on my podcast and to have talked just a little bit about her story. I definitely hope you check out the website that she's got for her hats, as well as the Facebook event page that I'll be linking to the description so that you can check out the event itself if you happen to live in the New Mexico area. The event itself will be taking place at the OT Circus, and that happens to be downtown, right off of Central. It's going to be Sunday, May 26th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. The event is available and open to all the public, children as well as adults. So we hope to see you there. And we're live with Miss Jessi Lloyd. How
Hello.
are you doing? Welcome to Art Talk Music, my dear. It is awesome to have you here.
I don't even know what to do right now.
It's always the first a part of a conversation or a podcast is getting the rhythm kind of you talk, I talk, or we talk over each other a little.
But I'm great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's wonderful that you are putting together such an absolutely amazing cause, and you've been doing this awesome thing, which I've been noticing from afar through Facebook, which is creating these gorgeous hats. And now, as you've recently told me off air, you're creating opportunities for people to come make their own hats with you. So
yes.
Talk to me a little bit about hat making. Let's get into that aspect.
Oh, man. So yeah, everyone loves the process of making a hat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. It's not as hard as people would think. You start with just this really rough shaped felt. I use beaver fur felt.
Beaver, like actual beaver.
Like actual beaver, yeah.
Man.
So it's
Do you
water
hunt them yourself?
resistant. I have a little beaver farm in my backyard. No.
Raise them, develop relationships, and then this
That's
hat
a whole
is
nother.
brilliant. Yeah.
So no, I source those from Tennessee. But yeah, once I have the felt, then I hand pull it. I use all traditional techniques that hat makers forever have been using. And I pull them over my hat blocks, which are the little wooden forms that look like heads.
Yes. And different sized heads.
Yep, different sized heads. And I have what they call a conformature, which gets the different shape of all the different size heads. And so if you have a little bump, your hat will have that little bump in it.
Oh, wow. Yes. Yeah.
So it's totally custom. Everything I do is by hand. So I don't have any machinery or anything, even hand stitching the leather sweatbands in.
So about how long is the process of making one hat?
It's totally different from build to build.
Every time? Sure.
Because with a really basic hat, like the one I'm wearing today, I could do that in 4 hours. But I've had hats that are upwards to 10 to 15, depending on they want hand painting and beading. And so just totally different each time.
That's awesome. Now tell me a little bit of just, obviously as we'll be putting within the social media posts, a little, snippets and pictures of some of these hats as well as you rocking them and wearing them. If people wanted to maybe have you make one, what are the price ranges of the hats and kind of where do they start? And I know obviously they can get pretty wild and intricate,
Yeah, that's always like a really good question because everyone's like, so how much is it going to cost to get my hands on one of these hats? And so custom actually starts at $650. So it's pretty pricey. But I do have ready to wear that I just release here and there that range anywhere from 280 to 400 range.
That's awesome.
So a little more affordable, but it's just kind of like when I'm just feeling like making a hat.
Yes. Yeah. And what made you get into hat making? Like, why that?
Actually, Tristan, my husband, he is the one that inspired me to start making hats.
Really?
Like I know we'll dive into it with his brain cancer story in here, but he has a big scar from his first brain surgery, and he was looking for a hat. And everywhere we went, he was just drawn to like the $2,000 hats. And I was like, oh my gosh, why? Like, why do you have such ridiculously expensive taste in hats? Like, it's just, yeah. And so I've sewn my whole life. And so as a seamstress, I was like, psh, I'll make you a hat. Like, I could do that.
Wow.
No, I couldn't. Like, I bought all the wrong materials and it was like the worst hat you've ever seen. But he wore it and I was like, don't tell anyone I made that hat. But he did. He like showed everyone at his work and and so it was a lot of fun. And then I just decided to dive deeper and teach myself how to properly make a hat.
The craft. Wow. Mm-hmm. So that's a wonderful transition already. Let's jump into the Tristan story. I mean, just give me context as to when this was. When was after his first brain surgery? Well, how many years ago was that?
So his first brain surgery was 5 years ago. And so it was roughly, it was actually a few years after that he was starting to look for hats because I've only been making them for about a year and a half. And so still pretty new, still learning always. I feel like you never can stop learning.
Yes.
Always something new. So yeah, that's kind of timeline.
Well, exciting. That's beautiful. Tell me about you and Tristan. I mean, I know Tristan Lloyd is the person we're talking about who's a dear friend of mine, and I've actually had his younger brother who I grew up with, Bobby Lloyd, on the podcast a long time ago. But the whole Lloyd family they're amazing souls. They are amazing people, all of them, and it doesn't surprise me at all that such a wonderful woman like you ended up with, the beautiful soul and the oldest brother, Tristan.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. How did that happen? I mean, I know you guys went to Manzano together.
Yeah.
Was it then or after?
Oh gosh. So yeah, so in high school, we were not friends. Like Tristan, actually, when we first met, like our meeting story it's hilarious and everyone wants to hear it, and it's so funny because they always ask it around our kids.
Oh wow.
And it's so inappropriate. It's like I'm gonna tell it now because I don't know that my kids are gonna be listening to this. But so I was actually a freshman in high school, and so it was during like a pep rally or something, and I was a cheerleader, and he was walking up behind the stairs while I was going up, and I heard him say, "I'd hit that." And I turned around and was like, excuse me? Are you kidding me? And then we didn't talk for like 5 years.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I'm like,
Gentlemen, take note, right? Yeah.
Right? I'm like, what do I tell my daughters when they're like, this guy just made a totally like inappropriate remark. Like, you might marry them.
Yeah. Wait a couple years, you might see him again.
Yeah. And so then we reconnected, and it's like so cliche. We reconnected over MySpace.
Oh wow! At that time, yes, of course.
Yep. It was like in the thick of I don't even know what they called messaging on MySpace back then. And so, but yeah, he was just like, "Hey, I think I saw you at UNM," and I was like, "That wasn't me, but I'm in town." So
I'm around. Let's get together.
Yeah, and
it really was like that.
It basically that was it, and then we we just started hanging out, and we
hit it
got
off.
married like a year later.
That's a beautiful story. I mean, and to have the reconnection with someone that you just like totally didn't like because he was a jerk and said
Right?
some gross comment, and then later
I
you're
know.
like, wait, who are you again?
Exactly. Oh, my
yeah.
goodness. Right?
Okay,
Life.
Let's see you now. Yeah, exactly. And now you guys have you have 4 daughters or 3 daughters, right?
3 daughters and
2 with him, right?
so we've got 3 daughters and 1 boy.
That's awesome. Okay.
So yeah, 4 kids.
There it is. That's what I remember 4. Okay. Beautiful. That is awesome. And tell me a little bit about this project that you're doing, which besides the awesome job that you've been doing with your hats, was also the reason why I really wanted to have you on the podcast to talk a little bit about this project, this undertaking that you are doing, so people can come and be a part of it. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so this month is my 1-year anniversary for the company, and it's also Brain Cancer Awareness Month. And so I figured, like, what better time than to host a fundraiser for brain cancer awareness and research.
Yes.
So I just kind of dived right in. Like, I've never planned a bake sale or anything in my life, but I'm like, I'm going to have a silent auction, and I'm going to do like a whole fundraising event. So far, I feel like it's coming together. A little nervous, but with the silent auction, I've been getting a lot of really great pieces from local artists. And then I have 4 of my hats in the silent auction.
Awesome.
And I'm collaborating with 4 different artists in New Mexico. And so I have one with an artist named Chelsea Spicer with Spiced Ink. She paints these amazing like bull skulls and any kind of skull you can find. But she just does like these intricate, beautiful pieces that I would love to own a piece of hers. And then David Santiago is doing a hat. He's painting like a little wooden playing card, which is going to be rad. I'm so like stoked to see it.
St. James, as
Right.
people know him around town.
Yeah, I know. I always like forget to call him by like their artist
and
name.
I call him that too. I mean, I grew up with him, but you know, everyone's
like, wait,
David Santiago, and it's like, what?
Talking about?
St. James, the guy that does the naked girls on wood,
Yeah.
and the girls on the beer cans of tractors. Beer cans, you know.
And he's painting a huge piece down at Duke
mural.
City beaches right now.
Oh my God, I saw
is
that.
turning out beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Shout out to David. We're still waiting to get him on the podcast. What's up, David?
And then let's see, I've got another artist who she's it's cool because I reached out to her because I saw she did a skateboard deck in a show. Like, I am never in Santa Fe ever.
Yes.
And I just happened to wander into this gallery the one time I was up there. And I saw one of her pieces, and I totally like Facebook stalked her to try to find her.
Oh, man.
I was like, I want her to do a hat. I have no idea who she is. And so, but I found her. Her name is Alex Gowan. And she does these beautiful little like bird girls.
Wow.
That it's really interesting and so like intricate, just the little details that she puts in. It's gorgeous. So she's gonna do a hat. And who else? Oh, and an artist out of Bernalillo, Sage Joseph. He does a lot of like graffiti art and just like really modern kind of just colors and texture, and it's really cool. I'm excited to see what he comes up with.
Wow. And so are they going to be painting the whole hat? I mean, obviously, you know, people are going to have to come and see it for themselves at the event. When is the event again?
It's May 26th, downtown at the OT Circus.
Okay.
And so that's off 7th and Central.
Now, what's the collaborations looking like? Are they painting the band that goes around the
So
middle of the hat?
all of them are different.
Okay.
So Chelsea Spicer, she painted like it looks like a beaded band, but she hand painted it. And the other ones I haven't seen yet, so I really don't know. It's gonna be a surprise. And they also each got a wooden hat box, and so they can like
decorate the wooden
hat box to coordinate with the hat. So it'll be
That
like
is so cool.
a full on like artisan collector's
An entire piece. Yes, a collector's piece. That's beautiful. That is so cool. And I'm honored that you asked me and my father to also be a part of it and have some of our pieces in there in just the silent auction aspect of it. But I mean, just to be able to help and be a part of it is very, very cool. And I definitely plan on being there to see all of the hats, maybe put a bid myself in. Woo! And come and be a part of it. So it's quite an undertaking. I mean, what's that like from idea to now being 2 to 3 weeks away from the actual event? I mean,
oh my goodness, it can be stressful. It's been a lot of fun. Like I wasn't expecting it to be as fun as it is to coordinate an event. But it's stressful. Like I didn't have a big wedding, but I imagine this is what planning a wedding is like finding a venue and getting a DJ and finding food and all these different vendors and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, there are people that do this for a living. Like no wonder they charge what they charge.
Much. Yeah, exactly. The big bucks.
Right. But it's been good. Like I'm feeling good about it. So
that's awesome. And you are partnering up with the OT
Circus.
OT Circus, correct?
Yep. So they're facilitating it, which is amazing because my company is not a nonprofit. We're a for-profit and they are nonprofits, which like for people who aren't into all the tax stuff, like it's a huge thing to have a nonprofit deal with the money for a fundraiser.
Absolutely.
That way I'm not stuck with the taxes for it.
Of course. It's a reality that Uncle Sam finds his
absolutely.
His cut of the deal however he can. And nonprofits are absolutely a way that you can partner with somebody and make something like this much more successful. So tell me a little bit more about the event. I mean, so there's going to be a silent auction. The event's going to be at the OT Circus. What else is going to be? There's going to be some live music there?
Yes. So we have a DJ coming, and we're hoping it's not totally set yet, but we're hoping for some live music. We have like 3 different people that are like, I might be able to come and do like something live. So hopefully, crossing my fingers, someone else like comes up and wants to do it.
Well, let's just say it right now that yes, there will absolutely be some more live music and some musicians will absolutely be taking the stage besides a disc jockey, which is just playing some music. No offense to the disc jockey.
Yeah.
We all gotta do what we love in some way in connection to music,
Absolutely.
No, but that's awesome. Okay.
And, and then we're going to have live painters there.
Okay.
And so we'll have some live art. And we have face painters, and we'll have sidewalk games, and we have artists who are going to be doing like chalk murals that people can join in on. We're having a waffle truck.
Awesome.
Which is awesome.
I was going to ask about food and
right. I was like, I didn't even know there was a waffle truck until I was hosting this event. I was like, there's been a waffle truck cruising around Albuquerque, and I didn't know about it. But there is, and they're going to be there.
Exciting. So it's a full family event.
Yep, totally family friendly. Everyone come.
And
it's free to the public. It's 3 to 7.
3 to 7.
It's a Sunday afternoon on Memorial Day weekend. I didn't realize it was on Memorial Day weekend until after I like set the date. I was like, darn it. I really should have paid attention to that. But
Right.
But hopefully there's still a good turnout.
We will absolutely do our best to see about getting the word out and letting people know. I'm excited because an event like this, it takes a community, and
absolutely
doing something like this is awesome. And the idea to then, get to execute it and put it together like this is going to be incredible. So tell me a little bit about Tristan and how he's been doing. I mean, tell me the story of his diagnosis. I mean, you guys were dating for a couple of years, and then kind of, what happened with Tristan?
So actually, it was, we actually had been living in San Diego while he was in law school. And we just had our second daughter. And so we moved back because he was graduating to Albuquerque. And we were in town for 4 days. And his dad's a plumber,
Yes.
And he went to go help him with a job, and he had a seizure while he was up on a ladder. And so he fell off the ladder. Luckily, his dad caught him. And it was kind of like something out of a movie. It was the day before Christmas Eve, and he has a seizure on a ladder, and no one knows like what's going on. Like he'd never had any kind of symptoms before this.
Yeah.
We get to the emergency room, and they're like, you have cancer. And at the time, like it really, like in hindsight, like that doctor should not have said that because they didn't for sure know. It was just like, there's a mass and it might be cancer. It might not be cancer, but it was like just a very dramatic experience. Yeah.
Way of saying it. Whoa.
And so we started the process of trying to find, someone to remove the tumor. And so that took a while because Tristan also, he didn't want to just go with any brain surgeon because, it's your brain. So it's a hefty thing to, trust somebody to go digging around in there. And so he wasn't comfortable with any of the surgeons here in New Mexico because none of them like really specialize in brain tumors at the time.
Yeah.
It was mostly like head injuries, gunshot wounds, that kind of stuff. And everywhere, like I sent scans to so many doctors across the country. Like I was just like morning to night, just calling surgeons around the country, trying to figure out who are we going to go to? And tons of people turned us away. A lot of people wouldn't even look at our scans. And it wasn't until like, it was kind of like one of those like meant to be moments. I was at a grocery store with my mother-in-law and some woman in front of us overheard us talking about Tristan. And she's like, oh, does he have this kind of brain cancer? And we're like, yes. She's like, oh, she's like, my wife, she just had a brain tumor removed and it was that kind. And here's the doctor's information and here's all this. And it just kind of like started rolling. Like I sent him the images and he was like, can you be here next week? And that's how we found his surgeon.
Wow. And where was the surgeon located?
Seattle, up in Seattle. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, but that surgeon's amazing. And so this event is going to be going towards his research because he's just been making a ton of advancements. And he actually just had some funding fall through and all this. And so that's what kind of sparked my interest in before I started the hat company of trying to find a way to generate funding for that kind of research. So.
And what's his name?
Dr. Cobbs.
I'm incredibly honored that you asked me to be a part of the event, and I'm happy to be able to help out in whatever way that I can.
No, I'm so glad that
that
you wanted to do anything. I was just
come on. I mean, it's Bobby reached out, and how I mean, all of you guys are family. I mean, you as well. Not just being married to the Lloyds. Also shout out to your sister if she listens to this, just because we went to high school together and we were friends in high school as well, and so. When I had heard that you and Tristan got married, it made me very happy, just because I know how special of a person your sister is, and I can only imagine, I mean, that's like what you always ask whenever you're with somebody. It's like, hey, do you have a sister, maybe my brother? It's like that's what you hope for, and that's what happened. So, tell me a little bit about how people can find out about your hats.
So actually, shockingly, a lot of people find me through Instagram.
Okay, all
which I'm like not a social media type person.
Hey, however you can get it, right?
And so it was like a huge surprise when that started happening. But you can find me at Grey Collective Hats, Grey.
Grey Collective. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to also include a link so people can check out and go straight to your Instagram page. Are you going to eventually make a website for it? I know obviously
I actually do have a website.
Oh, great.
It's like I have zero traffic to it.
Hey, that's no problem. We'll include that website as well because I'm sure that maybe has some of the pre-made hats already on there, right?
And so, I actually am just about to put like 5 hats on there.
Awesome.
And so like within the next 2 weeks, I'll have ready to wear up on the site.
Inventory. Awesome. And what's the name of that website?
That one's just greycollectivehats.com.
Beautiful. So we'll be putting links within this podcast to not just all of that, but also to the event on Facebook as you've created it so people can find out more information. As you said already, the event is free to the public. Mm-hmm. And kids are welcome. There's going to be face painting. There's going to be all kinds of activities, live musicians and DJs playing there, waffle truck, and a lot of art. I want to ask you one last question, and I mean, I guess it just has to do with the resilience that you found, or maybe the things that you've learned through the experiences as they've come upon the relationship of you and Tristan about yourself. What would you say is maybe the greatest lesson you've learned about everything or about life?
Oh my goodness, that's a big one. Yeah. way to end the show.
I know, right?
No, so I think the biggest thing that I've learned about myself through all of this is just like the word you just used, resilience. That I am a lot stronger than I ever thought that I was. I never in a million years thought that I would be like mentally capable of dealing with this kind of situation, let alone starting a company to help out in any way that I could. But Tristan's always had this insanely like immense confidence in all of my abilities, which is like super flattering as his wife. I'm like, he's just biased. But it's helped me just gain that confidence to do something, like not to just be like, oh man, like this sucks and I'm just going to sit here and be sad, but to actually be productive and realize that, yeah, like I might not be a doctor but I can do other things. Like I'm a maker, so that's how I'm going to help. So yeah.
And what a beautiful product as a result, because now you're creating these works of art that you yourself with your hands are creating, and now with other artists, right?
I know, it's so exciting.
What an amazing venture. And I hope it inspires other people to pursue something that they love and find out what it is that they can do for themselves within their own experience, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like people just do it. That's like my new thing, like even like with this event or with this company. Like I never done any of this before. You just got to do it. Just if you never do, you'll never know.
That's right. You'll never know that you could make beautiful hats and light them on fire.
Totally.
No, what last thing is I'm just remembering and mentioning it is you'll be putting on some seminars, some kind of events, workshops for making your own hat. Let's just kind of wrap up maybe with that, so people down the road can absolutely go check out that. Are you going to be having that, I'm sure, on your website as well?
Yes.
As your Instagram.
And so, yep, on the Instagram, I'll have workshop dates up, and I'll also have those on the website eventually. But we're hoping, we don't have our next set date, but we're hoping in the next few months to have one in June, one in July, and then it'll just be on demand. Once I get enough people signed up, we'll host one.
That's wonderful. And you were talking to Dialogue Brewery, right? You did one already there?
So I did one at Dialogue, and they are awesome. Like they have a beautiful space to use, and of course, like their beer is delicious. Yes. I mean, you can't go wrong. And the people are great. Yes. So yeah, I'm hoping to continue with them. And then I am also talking with Duke City Beaches, hosting a few there. And so hopefully it'll become a thing and come down and make your own hat. Awesome.
Well, there's so much to get from this. And we hope to see some of the listeners of this podcast and the people listening to this conversation at the event.
Yes.
Sunday, Sunday, May 26th, correct?
May 26th.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I look forward to it, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for being on Our Talk Music, Jessi.
Bye.